Good evening, everybody. Thanks for waiting. Welcome to the Blue Abroad Show. Monday, the 20th of December, 2021. We are moments away from finishing what has been an interesting year on all fronts, footy, non-footy. It's good to have your company. I've got Mr. Paul Sebastiani with me. Hello, mate.
Very good evening to you, Terry. How are you?
I'm good. We might discuss the weekend's festivities a little later.
Yes.
Because we did have the Blue Abroad. I don't know, was it a Christmas party, end of year session?
Get together at the local drinking hole.
Yeah, so we'll touch on that. But I think before we start anything, I'm going to turn the attention to you because you've got some things you want to share and talk about.
Yeah. Well, I think tonight's show, we're going to dedicate it to a young jockey and a friend of mine who tragically lost his life, Chris Caserta. We had his funeral today at St Monica's in Mount Alexander Road in Moonee Ponds, and it was beautiful service. Obviously, life cut too short. Only 26 years old, in the thick of things up at the Gold Coast as a jockey and doing really good things. And I've got a Carlton connection with him as well. You know, we'd always share some stuff on Twitter and exchange messages. And the first time I met him, actually, I went to Lygon Street with was him, a close mate of mine, Adrian and Chris, and we spent 2-3 hours together munching on pizzas. He's a typical Italian boy like me, really just loved his Carlton Footy Club, loved the races. He's obviously a very talented jockey, and we spent a great night together, and we'd message each other since. And then he moved up to Gold Coast, and I was supposed to see him middle of the year, and then the lockdown came in, and was meaning to message him as well. I'm going up to the Gold Coast in mid-Jan, but unfortunately didn't get to send that message. Just a tragic set of circumstances, and to any of his family, if they're watching tonight, if this message gets out to you as well. I met the brothers and saw the brothers today, and the family too, and they held themselves in very high regard, so they can be proud of the family that they've put together, and be proud of Chris as well. So I thought we'd dedicate this show to him tonight. Yeah, and that's a little message we exchange. We'd always have a few Twitter back and froze, which was nice. So he goes, I like you better with the trim you have now. So nature forced my hand. He was a lovable larrikin. He was Chris. So he was a very, very passionate Carlton man as well. So always messaging each other about us losing more so, obviously. But obviously he was like us, just dreaming of the next premiership, but not to be. But tragic set of circumstances. But they couldn't have sent him off in a better way today.
Yeah, no, that's I guess that's nice to hear the way you spoke about him. And I think the day I got the news, I obviously didn't know who he was, but I think it's just always a reminder when anything like this happens. Especially, it doesn't really matter what age, but I think it hits a little bit harder when it's someone that's a similar age to you or younger. Just to embrace every moment. You just don't know when your time will come, and life is too short.
It's very fickle, my friend, and there are a few photos up on the at his wake today of him in his Carlton Guernsey with his brother and a few other mates as well, and the big smile and the fists were pumping, and it's funny how football sort of brings you together in that regard as well. So it's that's how sort of our connection started. The racing and footy as well, and it's sort of that whole thing where people say, it's just a sport, it's just a game. It's more than that, and I think the racing industry, much like the footy industry as well, is such a tight knit community. There's such a bond between the two that it's hard to tear apart, really. And the community that we've got on this channel as well, it's woven together like that, Terry, and it's very, very similar in the racing industry as well. And that was mentioned today too. So I thought it'd be a nice little touching note to start the show with, I think.
I think so too. I think that's a beautiful touch. And again, condolences to the family, especially
Of course.
At this time of the year, and we will dedicate this show to young Chris, and hopefully do him proud with a nice analysis of everything that's going on.
Absolutely, and I think too, it's a big wake up call at Christmas when you're at your dinner tables or at your lunch tables when you're around loved ones. Give them a hug, tell them you love them. I mean, you don't just do it at Christmas; do it every day of the year. But yeah, more so, I think, come this Saturday.
Mm-hmm. For sure. All right, let's run the intro and let's get this show on the road.
Hey, I seen it all before. I heard chat that they all adore. 1 week looking like they all aboard. Next day they don't even walk the walk. I've been here since a bust down aqua, cutting through Asda, all black master. Now I'm too grown for acting gaffer, trying to pay off my Madre's gaff cut. Took the white and there's a rotty that speak. Add the spice to calamari, that's me. My advice off the order I seen. Price alone, he don't promise you. Don't say that. You know that man don't pay that.
Tell you what, I miss my hair. It's almost back.
Shut up. You can't say that around me. That's ridiculous, mate.
I'm, you know what I'm like. I'm very vain about my hair. And I'm at that point now where it's kind of back, but haven't got the fringe to be able to play with. I think if Pom's watching, he's going to be absolutely filthy to hear me say such things. But no, I've decided to grow it back because my sister's getting married in January, and I want to make sure the photos have the hair. So very much first world problems. Pom is giving me a violation right there.
Yeah, definitely a fine. Definitely a fine. Shout out to Steph as well. She's watching.
Yes, shout out to Steph. Steffi D, I'm gonna actually. I haven't told her this, but she's gonna have to do a Carlton People episode before she leaves. So the pressure's on.
Love it.
As always, we thank the members. I think while we'll thank the members, we'll have their names down the bottom. Let's talk a little bit about Saturday. So I had a few people just sort of ask, like, are we going to do anything for the end of the year? I wasn't sure who would turn up, whatever the case may be, but we got together. We had a nice group of us there at Welcome to Thornbury. A few were missing from this photo, but it was pretty cool to catch up with a few. Like, there's a few people there who we've met online, but we've never met in person. Like Jad, for example, Costa. I've just brushed into him briefly. Young Ari there on the left. It was great to catch up and just hang out.
Yeah, mate, it's nice to actually physically be around people that you've met online and can share a beer without having to worry about anything, which is good. There was no one looking over our shoulders. We weren't looking over our own shoulders. So nice to put a proper face to the names now. So all those young gentlemen, they can all hold themselves in very good esteem as well. Ari, a young contributor to the channel, is a very good young man, and Costa's he's a big racing man as well, which is really got my blood going on the weekend, which is good. His old man's in some horses as well. So nice to meet all the lads over the weekend and share a couple of pints. Hopefully we can do it come next year as well.
Yes. Also young Nathan there as well. The genius behind the Carlton rap. He was there in his Carlton training top, which I thought was pure commitment to the cause. So it was good to see.
Yeah, proper stuff. If you're going to do it, go all out.
Absolutely. Also in February, I was telling everybody there on Saturday, but for those who are watching now, you'll know this before anyone else does. In February, we are going to do a launch event for the season at H Cafe, which is my parents' cafe in Thornbury. So it's going to be obviously very limited in capacity. So more information will come out, but pencil in mid-February-ish. I think it's the second Saturday night. We're going to do a nice launch event, get together. We'll ticket it, cater it, and have a few drinks. And hopefully those that missed out on Saturday can come and catch up with us early in 2022 before the madness begins.
Yeah, get down. Good cheap plug for H Cafe as well. So make sure you get to H Cafe and go to H Cafe. H Cafe.
H being Helen and Harry Degani, the parents. So it's a nice one there. But I guess once we start, we just mentioned 2022. So a few things happened throughout the week, with respect to 2022. We might just start off with Stocker, because I think that's the news that really shocked us, but not surprisingly. we found out that he has suffered a syndesmosis injury due to a tackle at training. So I guess, Paul, what were your thoughts?
It's the 2020 buzzword, isn't it? 2021 buzzword coming back to haunt us again. Oh, look, it's as much as I think Liam himself sort of summed it up pretty well, is that he'll be off his feet for about a month, but he's actually done a whole lot of work that's really got him match fit and match ready. So it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to deter him too much, because they'll get that 3-week break. I think it is from now until sort of mid-Jan. And I think he'll be running. I think he said he'd be running back at the end of January, I think it was. Mm-hmm. So I think he'll miss round 1 and 2. That's just from what I look at with these injuries and all that. I don't think they're going to risk him. Because, we've got some, like Chera and Hewitt and all those guys have come in to sort of fill it up. But I don't think it's too much of a concern. These things are going to happen, mate. We know it's a contact sport, but I think us Carlton supporters, we've been dogged by injury for God knows how long. We just see one injury now and we just think, like the whole world's imploding.
We're a sensitive bunch at this time of the year.
Yeah,
we are. Because the reality is, we've gone, if you go back to 2017, Doc, 2018, Doc, 2019, Charlie, 2020, Charlie. Yeah. So I think it's just one of those things. But I think what you mentioned was important. He has done a big chunk of work prior to the injury. And obviously it's a contact injury in the sense that they were, training, it happened in a tackle.
Yeah.
It's footy.
Yeah, it is. It's going to happen. Like, it's not. And I think the one thing that I really took away from it was Stock's attitude, like the social media post and everything. Like, he was just like, "Yep, it's happened. Whatever. I'm in a moon boot. This is what's going to happen. We move on. That's it. That's all he can do, because the alternative's worse." Yeah. And the fact that he's done, as we said, the fact he's done a bulk of work is only going to help him get over the injury.
Yeah. I think the other thing I wanted to mention as well, because the way the news came out, obviously he told his Discord community. I'm not sure how many people in the chat tonight are in Liam Stocker's Discord, but he spoke about it. He told them straight up what happened in his Discord community, which is generally more of a private thing. Somebody obviously, screenshotted that, sent it, and then it got spread on Twitter and whatnot. And it was actually the community that wanted it to be taken down. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I think it's a bit of a changing of the guard in a sense, because they wanted to respect that privacy. And it was good to see it was led by the Discord community. So if any of them are here watching, kudos to you guys in the Discord, because that was very well done. And that's the thing. It's hard because, like, a lot of, for some of us, we want to report the news, talk about what's going on. Obviously, it was going to come out. My initial reaction was, this is really innovative. He's letting the fans know directly, and we know straight away, because it's going to come out. There's no use hiding it.
Exactly. Like, I think that, as we know, like, injuries are going to happen, but and I know you're of the opinion too, like, just, mate, when it happens, just tell us. Just tell us straight away. Like, because I think the net benefit for your fans and telling them early is like, okay, it's happened, but I respect the club for getting on the front foot and not finding out from a third party like Tom Brown or whoever it may be.
100%.
I'd rather it come from the club than a journo from outside media.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, it was an honest mistake from the account in the Discord. It was just one of those things. But I just noticed it was a changing of the guard in how we keep that barrier of trust between, because we ask for more insight and we ask for more, we ask for the people, within the club to show themselves and be a bit more willing to connect with the fans. So I think it goes both ways with the fans respecting that culture of privacy,
I think so. And I think Liam Stocker's and I know we keep seeing, he just seems to be cut from a different cloth, doesn't he? There's something different about him, like he's not that, he's sort of polished to a certain extent, but he's not, he's his own self. Like, he's not, I don't think he's like, I mean, they're all media trained, but he just seems a different cat. He's a very different cat to what we've got.
He certainly is. You know what it is? He's got a brain.
Yeah, he does. He can think for himself.
He can think for himself. That's. I mean, I don't know that. My guess is that's what it is. I've made reference to the fact that he grew up his first 7 years of his life, or 8 years, were not in Australia. So he has the understanding that Australia is not the only place that exists, and there is a big bad world out there.
I kick an oblong ball at Preston. I think there's more to things in life than that. Mate, we got to get him on the show properly one day, mate. I reckon we got to get him on the Monday show, mate.
One day, yeah. I mean, I hope so. I hope so. We will move on because we have some good news with respect to returning to Ikon Park. So.
Yes.
We got an email from the president, but the club also put out an article talking about it. If you didn't get it, the information is as follows. On Friday, the 21st of January, we will be welcomed back into Ikon Park.
Been a while.
Yeah, it has been a long. I don't even remember how long it's been. Obviously, with the AFLW commencing on the 9th of January, that's round 1. We're going to be at Ikon Park for the girls, watch a few games there, and then the boys obviously start training, mid to late Jan, and we'll be there with for an open training session. So finally, little spurts of normality starting to come back. I think getting back to Ikon Park's important. I think also because that's where you build. We have memories from back in the day, but for the new generation coming through, you've got to go to the club. You've got to feel it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think there's just. It's like, like everything's sort of moving online, and like there's, like everyone would talk about the social club back in the day and how you'd mingle with players. And I think like that's just been like open training has been that entry into the club itself, and, to fans who share a common interest, whether they're on this channel or not, meeting and greeting new people and mates and stuff at training. It's just, I don't know, it's just a pastime. Like, you message your mates, oh, we going to training this morning, we'll grab a coffee, blah, blah, blah. Like it's that whole preseason build up. We all get sucked into it every year, right? It's the most exciting time of year, isn't it?
Of course. I mean, all you got to do is have one good training session in that open training session, and you are primed for a breakout year.
I'll tell you who's big on those ones. Heath Buck, my Blue Heavens. Yes. He loves a recording training session.
Yes, he does. I mean, I don't mind one myself. I don't mind getting down there, and I used to film at Ikon Park straight afterwards. But I mean, we'll see what happens. In the meantime, I've got the link to jump on if anybody wants to come on and just have a chat about anything. Obviously, it's the end of the year. Get in, have a chat with us, bring up a topic that you want to that's on your mind, and we'll go from there. But no, it's good. I'm excited to get back to the club, and I mean, do you know when this redevelopment's finishing? Because I think it's still some time away.
Yeah, I think don't hold me to it, but I reckon end of next year, end of 2022. Mm-hmm. I think is when it's going to, or maybe sort of into 2023 is when it's going to all be finalized, because they've got to do that whole wing on the other side. Yeah, like that whole wing is going to be turned into a massive facility. So, look, hopefully it's going to reap us some benefits in the long run. I think it clearly will. But yeah, it's a big thing that the club is undertaking. So look, elite facilities, and hopefully it leads to elite footy on the ground. Fab, yes. 2023. There we go. That's it, mate. Thank you.
Trust Fab to know. Fab knows. He would know. We also got some news today about the preseason competition. Yes. I'm liking how it gets shorter and shorter, to be honest with you.
What a waste. Seriously, it's just a waste. Not that. Like, how many games can you play in the preseason, mate? They train for 3-4 months.
Mm-hmm.
Get stuck into it.
No, 100%. Well, we've got the D's on the 3rd of March, Thursday night, 7:20 p.m. I believe that's at Marvel Stadium.
Yep.
And then it says here to be confirmed, Carlton St Kilda, but I would imagine I would kind of hope that that's at Marvel as well. I think that's. Yeah. I don't know if that perception's changing, but I don't know. I know we won a few games at Marvel this year, but it's definitely a ground that we have had trouble with in the past.
Look, for me, like, my opinion is that the ground, for lack of a better phrase, means shit, to be honest. It doesn't really mean much. If you're a crap football side, you can play here, there, or everywhere, mate. And I think the issue for us has been whether it's personnel or coach or anything like that. I think the one thing we'll take out of these preseason games is, I think what we want to look for is a clear change in style, plan, where plays are being played, who's playing as well. That's another massive thing too. So, I mean, I don't think Fossey is going to give everything away in preseason, but I think we're going to see a big shift in how we play our football because, to put it bluntly, last year we were nothing short of disgraceful, really.
Yeah, we were talking about it on Saturday. It's just,
oh mate,
it just never got going, did it? It never got going.
Nah, it was like, when you go to chug a lawnmower and you get that first and you're like, oh no, and then you go again and again and again, and then the cord eventually snaps. That's what it was.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we didn't do a show last week, but the fixture did come out. Did you have any thoughts? And you guys in the chat as well. Did you have any thoughts on the fixture?
Look, I mean, when people go, it's an easy fixture, I'm like, well, based on what? Based on the finishing positions of last year. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you can only play the teams in front of you. Look, the first two games are pretty difficult, I would say. Richmond and Western Bulldogs are never going to be an easy beat. But from now until round one, you don't know what could happen. Players could go down. You just don't know. So, look, for me, you can look towards a fixture, but I think there are bigger things that we need to worry about and put at the forefront of our footy club than who we play, where we play, or what venue we play at. To be honest, I think that's they're just arbitrary things that you've really got no control over, unless it's the venue, or if you're a big team, you're going to play the primetime game. So, look, to me, it doesn't bother me, mate. When we play, where we play, I'll be there. So. Fab four, take it to the bank, he reckons. Jesus Christ.
He said this recently, and I don't know if I've ever seen Fab this confident before.
I reckon he's had too much panettone already.
I mean, look, theory. I mean, this is the time of year where theories come, and all sorts of theories come, and there's one theory that I feel like I've seen for the most part, and that's when you sack a coach and you bring in a new coach. There is this sort of instant jump. Now, that might be completely wrong because Vossi's come in and we've done a preseason. So that week to week of losing Teague hasn't happened and that guilt. But I mean, I just think for us and this fan base, whatever's happened over the last 6 seasons now since the reset or the rebuild, we'll call whatever that was, it's just, and ultimately the pain just lingers for decades. We just need to get off to a strong start, and it just needs to look different. Maybe just even in our attack on the footy, let's just start there.
Yeah, no doubt it'll look different. I mean, that's just going to happen under a new coach, different regime, different players. But I think the one thing we want to do is just go out and win round one. We haven't beaten Richmond since 2013, since the elimination final. We haven't had a winning start to the season for I can't remember how long. It's 8 or 9 or 10 seasons, something like that. So it would
have to be 2012 when we were 3-0. That would have to be the last time. If someone's in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like 2012 was the last time where we really started the season well.
No, it's spot on, and we ended up being premiership favourites, and we all know what happened after that. But look, I mean, for us, we just need some sort of confidence at the start of the year to say that, even just from a player's mental perspective, it's shit, all the work we've done in that 3 to 4 months, we've put it into action in the first game of the year and it's paid off. We don't, I mean, obviously we've still got to tinker things and everything like that, but the hard work we've put in for that 3 to 4 month period has paid off in the first week of the year, and we can go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Richmond, it's time, mate. Absolutely.
It is absolutely time. 2012 was our last round one win. So, yeah, and I mean, look, it sort of goes both ways, because if we lose and we lose badly, it's just going to be that same sorrowness from all of us. If we win, you just know we're going to be over the top, over celebrating. Maybe not the players, or maybe the players, but definitely the fans, just because we just need something to get excited about early on. And I think also what's important is to build confidence in what they're doing. I think the Doggies game last year, I feel like it might have been round 6 or 7.
Yeah,
it really stung because we just couldn't beat a good side, and we almost had one. And then I feel like from there was just a real lack of confidence across the board.
Right. Yeah, I think it was just that resignation of it. Just resignation. It was just defeat. It was like we've busted our backsides to get 5 goals up against the Doggies, and in the blink of an eye, it's just gone and it's done. So, and I think it was like, I mean, it's not that when people go, they've had a falling out with the coach and they hate the coach. I don't think it's a matter of them hating the coach. It's just you can love your coach, but if it doesn't work and he's not implementing the right tactics and the right mindset and the right motivation and the right game plan, well, you can be the best bloke in the world. It ain't going to work. I'd rather the coach be respected and start winning, really.
100%. I mean, and that's an important point too, because I think, I don't know what it's like on the inside, but I know from this side of the fence, like I love David Teague as a person. It just became really evident at certain points that he just wasn't. He wasn't him, for whatever reason.
I think we even made mention of this as well. That's not to bring up old wounds or anything like that, but I think it's a really important talking point. Was that we discussed this on Saturday with the lads at the get together. Correct me if I'm wrong, and someone can, but I'm certain that David Teague only just got his level 4 coaching accreditation, which just tells you like where the club was at. Like it's laughable, like really. And now we've got these 3 blokes in, Voss, Cook, and Sayers. Like it's just an automatic. You talk about improvement in each line and each position and every year. Like that's just an improvement straight away, isn't it? Really?
Absolutely. I mean, these are guys that know how to put chess pieces in places with history of doing it, and obviously with Luke Sayers in terms of in his in large organizations, and then with Brian Cook with football clubs, which is probably the thing that really has been missing. Bringing in an executive with elite experience in the game, in the actual game.
I think as well, like what really, I mean, you take it with a grain of salt, whatever it may be, but the AFLW girls had their photo shoot last week, and the first thing that I think the club put up was you saw Brian Cook and Luke Sayers, like, mate, they were getting in, high-fiving, getting around it, and like the 2 blokes beforehand, like they would never have done that. You know what I mean? Like but it's those little things. It's the incremental things that you do on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis that continue. It's like compound interest.
Correct.
It's compound interest. Little gains, and then it just explodes. So, Absolutely. Look, I mean, it's spitballing and crystal balling as well. But I just feel like there's something different because there's different people there now, and something has changed. Whether it changes for the better or good, we will find out.
I'll tell you another thing that I noticed throughout the week, which was just different in communication, and the club put out a video. I think it was Sticks. They had, I think it was like a welcome event at the club, and Sticks was talking to the group about the club and whatnot, and he made a comment about sort of don't focus too much on finals, focus on earning respect, and it's kind of like the humbling statement that we needed to hear. Like, yes, we're demanding finals, and I'm sure they're demanding it on the inside as well. But without respect, because we have no respect within the competition.
No, none.
Like zero.
Absolutely none.
And that's until you can come to that realization and start there, earn respect, and then we'll get to finals next. I think that's an important piece of information.
Yeah, you summed it up perfectly there. That's a societal issue. Everyone, we all talk about, you should just respect. You should just respect them. Just respect them. No, you earn it. We don't deserve respect from the competition, maybe based on what we've done, in the history, in VFL history, but not for the last 10 to 15 years. It's been abysmal. Hawthorn Premiership players used to laugh when they played us, like witches' hats.
Yeah.
Witches' hats. Yeah.
So I like that. I also like to see, I think it was, Wayne Johnson, Kenny Hunter, and I think it was Heath Scotland that got down to the club. And I mean, in a selfish way, I like to see a bit of that. I like to see the old legends come in and share stories about what it meant. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what they spoke about with them. I know that they were there to congratulate Walshy and on the best and fairest, and I think Weeders as well. But you kind of got to learn from the past, but not live in the past.
Yeah, I agree. Like, there's something. I think there was something in that statement that you mentioned about Kernahan as well, that they'll look towards themselves and go, "Well, shit, well, we're not good enough, are we? Not at the moment. We've still got, we haven't reached our potential. That buzzword that everyone throws about. So, I think that there's a lot of unfulfilled potential within the football club at the moment, because that's just what we do as fans. We pick up these players and we think that they're going to be world beaters, and when they don't quite live up to it, we all get pissed off. So it's just a matter of making the most of your time when you're there, and who was the first person that, or one of the people that Sauce mentioned the most? Ed Kerno.
Yeah.
Ed Kerno. Yeah. If they all had a crack like him, I think the club would be a completely better place. Not the most talented player by any stretch, but bloody hell, mate, you can't question his commitment, can you?
No, not at all. Not at all. And that's the thing. We spoke about him a bit. I think there's just this. I feel like maybe it's a 30+ thing with industry, media, fans. It's just kind of like, all right, well, we've got to move on from him and whatnot. I still think Ed, it would be one of the leaders in work rate and work ethic on the track and setting standards. And like, how do you not give him a chance to play football when he's doing that?
Yeah, if you're going to tackle like Ed.
Correct.
Simple as that. And use his work rate and the way that he, the way he approaches his football as well. So
yeah,
it's get the most out of yourself is what we ask for.
Yeah.
If you're not doing it, we're going to be coming after you. And don't complain when we do.
Don't complain when we do, because we're watching everything.
Like hawks, like bloody hawks.
It's so true. 6 days a week, 6 shows a week.
Mate, doesn't stop 24/7, mate. We live and breathe it.
That's right. That's right. I think the other thing as well was the preseason camp that they went on, and it wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. It's a preseason camp. It got me thinking. Maybe it's hard because maybe not necessarily climbing up, cliffs, 40 kilometers, whatever. But why don't they do that during the season? I think that's a great way to break up, especially if things aren't going right, to reconnect again, sit amongst a fire and reconnect in the nature. I think there's something really wholesome about that.
I'll tell you what's good. If they're 0-4, mate, you can go send them on a 40-kilometer hike for Tuesday training if they want.
If they're 0-4, they're doing 40 Ks up a cliff. I'll tell you that much.
Mate, I reckon that'd be pretty good punishment. I think. Look, like these camps are sort of, we hear a lot about bonding and connecting, and I think the one thing I liked about it is that the club sort of said it was there. Vossi sort of explained what it was about, but there was no. I think us felt like there's been no hoo-ha about it. Like it's not.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, they've gone on a camp. Oh, we're going to win the flag. Like, it's little certain things that'll hopefully connect and bond the boys together, because, Stixie spoke about it as well. And Marku and Harmsy, when they're on the jumper punch, they're all footballers, but they were all tight-knit. They were all 40 players or whatever it may be, and they would all go out for dinner. They would all go out and they would be so close. And if one bloke stepped out of line, they'd all be on you. They would all be on you. So I just hope that something like that is being implemented at these camps too. And I will say I did see a bit of footage. Jack Silvani had an absolute banger playing on his sound system. Al Pacino by Timmy Trumpet. People get on it. absolute banger of a tune.
I did see that. I think he's one of the. I mean, all footy clubs have him. There's a couple that provide the spark, provide the energy for the boys, provide the dance,
Yeah. But you need that.
Yes. You need characters. And Jack also provides the whole love for the club, connection, and even the way he plays. I mean, you can never question the way he goes about it.
No, absolutely. Speaking of connection, I'm just going to turn my light on because it's
turn it on, mate.
There we go.
There we go. Look at this. Turn it on.
Yeah, look, I think I think we need more of that at the football club. Like and this is what I was saying too. Like on our Christmas edition with JP, like Harry Mackay's interview in the media, I think was about a week or two ago. It's a larrikin, mate. Like none of this sanitized. I mean, you sort of need that at the club as well, but just be yourself, lads. When you go out on the field, I mean, you've got to have that. That sort of stringent routine that you stick to with your game plan and everything like that. But just go out and be yourself.
Yeah, that's what I've loved about Harry's development over the last probably 12 to 18 months, especially with this outside noise about how he shouldn't be, snapping around the body. He made it very clear really early in the piece, like, this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is how I do it.
Doesn't matter if he's kicking goals. It doesn't really matter how he does it. Like at the start, I was like, "Yeah, Harry, just kick straight, would you?" But look, they go through.
They do.
I think
the only thing about him, and I don't know if this will change, I'll be looking for it, next season, is the fans don't quite G up to him as much.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that, if we start embracing it as a collective, get a bit louder when he puts them through, then it builds more momentum for him. I mean, I remember the one against Essendon, he did it, but it was late in the game. It was sort of like the sealer. But as a regulation kick, it's just kind of like, you just put your fingers in your mouth. You don't know if it's going to go through. But he actually has a pretty good strike rate with it.
Well, that's it. It's. I mean, if the numbers suggest that that's what you should be doing, well, then by all means, go for it. To be honest, and then I think against Essendon, the one after the siren directly in front, and he had the set shot, he missed.
Yeah.
So, mate, whatever works doesn't matter. Whatever works doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. Craig's a big fan of the talk that Sticks gave to the boys. We need more of the past players coming in. I agree, Craig. I think you're spot on, mate.
Well, that's another thing too. That's like Harmsy and Marku were sort of speaking as well of that sort of disconnect between past players and the club. And I think it was something that Luke Sayers really wanted to bring back. Is that, correct me if I'm wrong, is that correct? Something that he wanted to really focus on?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we heard him speak when he came on the channel that night. He was talking about his memories and Bazusto and Dominator and all of that. So, I mean, I'm sure he would know what it means for him as a Carlton supporter and that golden era as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not, and like we even heard, I remember like what Wiedering said about the Collingwood rivalry and how he said, it doesn't really mean that much to our generation. Like it's, I don't know. Did that hurt you a little bit? Like, because when I go to a Collingwood game, I want to put my fist through a wall. Like, you just want to run through a brick wall.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I think it's the modern day athlete, really. I think they just don't have the same, maybe because of the performances or maybe just because of the culture of the sports changing and the culture of the athletes. Maybe the athletes are getting a bit more isolated because they're really becoming a little bit more different to everybody else, and they're put up on this pedestal and they don't know who they can trust, kind of thing. And so they only have themselves. So when you look at the league, 18 clubs, 44-ish on a list, they're really the only other people that get the life that they live. And I don't know where it goes. It just depends. Look, with Wiedering, it's because he plays the way he plays.
Yeah, of course.
You can pass those comments off almost, but you don't like hearing it. You want to make sure that they're up and about for the game and they know what it means.
I don't think. Look, that's something that we can't question. Like Wiedering's ability to come out and perform is not. It's. I mean, every player's up for question, but he was instrumental last season and has been since he's arrived at the club. But I think he's obviously a type of player that just says, it's just another game. I've got to set my routine. It's a professional routine, but I still think there needs to be that understanding of like this game is, it means a lot to a lot of people. So I think they still do understand that, but a little bit of history, little bit of history being taught doesn't always hurt.
Absolutely. I think the other thing, I didn't mention this to you before, but I wanted to just touch on the Mark Murphy interview with Dill Buckley. It happened last week. I think it was Tuesday it came out. obviously almost rehashing old wounds, affirming a lot of what we did know. Maybe some people didn't know how injured he really was. I feel like it was the interview that had to happen so we can finally just move on.
Why didn't he do it when he was playing? I would have loved it if he did it when he was playing.
I think that's the kind of guy he is, to be honest. I think that's just, you know, and it also goes to show how important it is for that relationship between, you know, coach and captain to be strong and, you know, club and captain. I mean, he mentioned that he wasn't really one to go upstairs and then talk to, you know, those powers that be. So then, you know, the question is, well, where could he go to vent his frustrations or whatnot? And, you know, a lot of learnings, hopefully that the club implement for, you know, the rest of the existence of this group.
Yeah. And I think, look, I mean, like, not that I'm not as big, like, because, you know, mate, you saw the picture of Murph and I back when I had the locks, you know. But look, I think I just didn't like the way it ended for Murph. Like that whole, I don't like when players have been there for that long and then there's a divide in the fan base, and then his final game is a thrashing, and then, you know, like, I'm not like the interview, whatever it was, mate. He's now he's a free. He can do what he wants. He can interview. He can say what he wants now. And not that he couldn't before. But, you know, with the AFL, when you're playing for a club, you sort of sanitize with what you can and can't say. But look, I mean, if that's how he felt, then so be it. I mean, it obviously didn't work out for him and Mick and him at the club from a premiership perspective. But look, I mean, he deserves the respect of having been a club captain through some pretty dire times, I would say. And he did say that does he have to have a new shoulder or something like that? He was saying
shoulder replacement.
Yeah, Jesus. So you don't, like, I mean, we say all these things as fans and all that, but you just don't know, do you? You just don't know what's going on with the player.
No, you don't. And then, like, I mean, I even ever since then, there was a photo that came out of Cripper, and he's got like a scar here from one of the reconstructions or surgeries that he's done, and you just think, gosh, they're humans. They're you know, they're not immortal. They're mortal. It takes.
Is it like, no? Do you think it's that? And we discuss this all the time. Like, is it that balance between, like, if the player actually comes out and tells the fan base and public, like, mate, this is what's happening, would people be more understanding, or is it like it's that balance between that and privacy? Like, it's such a touchy, fickle area. Like, how do you get it right? You know, there's no right or wrong, I don't think.
I think you're spot on. I don't know if we are mature enough as an industry in a lot of ways. And I almost think honesty with injuries is maybe one of them. But then again, it depends. Like, you hear Ken Hinkley talk with Port Adelaide. He just comes out and says it. This happened, that happened. He's out for this long and he's out for this long. I don't know is the answer, but I do think we do have to figure out a bit of a better balance, because ultimately you don't want to be giving out. I understand you don't need to tell absolutely everything, of course. But I think when you get something, and then this is the question, like, I mean, the injections in the back of Cripps last year, he was getting pain relief, which is, maybe it's not uncommon, but I guess the question marks, then they're like, well, if he's not really ready to play, should he play? And maybe they just don't want those questions to come up.
No, well, I mean, obviously we saw what happened in the press conferences, that, you know, one coach was lying, and then we didn't know what was going on, and then it came out that it was what people were saying about the back was true, but even then, like, it's at a point where it's like, well, okay, if they're playing poorly, you know, the fans start sort of having a dip at the player or the coach or whoever it may be, and then do they say, look, this is what's going on in the background and blah blah blah, and then people come out and say, oh, it's just an excuse. Like, or is it the other way and say, okay, well, maybe I understand. Like, it's just such a, where do you go with it? It's juggling knives, isn't it?
It's true. It's true. I'm going to bring on a guest who's just joined. I was going to play a little clip, but stand by. We've got Mr. Beach.
Gentlemen.
Chris, are you in ISO, are you? I saw your Instagram.
Correct. I am.
What have you done, mate? What's happened?
So a colleague of mine tested positive to COVID-19, and I didn't find out about it until yesterday.
Oh, no.
Mate, you're a Carlton supporter. You'll beat COVID. You've been through much worse.
You're here, mate. Yeah. We're here to pull you through.
Yeah, look, it's not an ideal situation this close to Christmas, gentlemen, but unfortunately it is what it is, I'm afraid.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, did you get your tickets for round 1 for AFLW?
No, I haven't, because I think I'm going to be trying to play cricket on that day, but I will be looking at the scores convincingly when I get a chance.
Okay. I'm just on the recruitment drive at the moment. I want to see as many down there.
Well, look, I intend on getting to as many games as I can. I'm looking at the Pride game again, so if you're down there, I might see you.
We look forward to it, mate. What else? What else is going on in your world? What's on your mind?
Well, pity about Stocker's injury, which I know you guys have touched on already. Good to see the old boys coming around the club as well. I think we're just looking forward to the start of the season now, aren't we, guys?
Just bounce the bloody ball, mate. That's what
Absolutely.
I say. Just bounce the ball.
But pretty much. I mean, obviously, Christmas, lunches and all of that for those that celebrate. That once that's over and once we hit 2022 and maybe we'll say like the 3rd or 4th of January, once all the parties have been recovered from, it's just full steam ahead.
100%.
The madness begins, and then we're going to be asking for a break, and it's going to be stressful. And before we know it, we're saying, "You're like, how is this still happening? When's it going to change?" It's just
before we know it, Terry will be on his first glass of red wine in the fan cam after round 1. It's happened again. It's happened again.
God damn it, Carlton! It's happened again.
Oh dear. What have you got planned for the break, mate?
So, obviously, once I get through this isolation period, I'm still waiting on the test results to come through because the test happened today, but we'll leave that to one side. I've got the Boxing Day test, day 3, lined up.
Very nice.
And then I'm gonna head down the coast for about a week, and then I'll probably be working again. So, in the new year, so we're just rolling as it comes, mate.
Love it, mate. Love it. Well, good to see you as always. We'll definitely catch you in the next few weeks.
Enjoy it, mate. It'd be nice if you could get down to one of the meetups as well, mate. Open training. Get down. And
I will be doing what I can, mate. Don't worry.
Good man.
Good on you, Beachy.
Cheers, boys.
See you, mate. Alrighty. Now, Paul, before we finish up, I've got to play a little clip because the Jumper Punch, for those who aren't aware, we have a Christmas special that you guys recorded. Now, maybe you could talk about it because Rocco sort of called me. He's like, yeah, we're going to get together. We're going to do a Christmas special. And then last week he says, Tez, listen, we have to split it up into 2 because we couldn't stop talking. So what's happened, mate?
Well, it went for 4 hours. It's like we've done a Joe Rogan like ×2 basically. It's just we just couldn't stop. So we recorded, and the first 2 hours I'm like, geez, how are we going to do? Because I had a meeting with work, so I had to go to the meeting, right, get that out of the way, and then I had to come back and record, and we recorded again. So it ended up going for 4 hours, and we're like, well, what do we do? Do we give the Blue and Broad punters 4 hours straight, or do we split it up? We were like, no, I think we'll split it up. It's a nice little lead into Christmas as well. So they get something last Tuesday, and they'll get something tomorrow night at 8 p.m. as well.
Perfect. Well, I'll play a little clip as we end the show to give you a little teaser of what to expect tomorrow. But basically, we're just going through the year that was and reminiscing and having a laugh. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, in the moment, we get heated and emotional, but it's all love. And at the end of the day, you can sit back and laugh at the memories. And that's kind of what these memories all are for us now.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the promo that we put up on our Instagram at the Jumper Punch, that's the handle for our Instagram page, mate. I just lost it. I just absolutely lost it. I think it was over the I think the footage that we were watching was the West Coast Carlton live stream.
Right.
Mars is just, the gasket's blown. It's just gone. It's just, the legs have been slapped. The couch has been belted.
He's had enough. He's a broken man. We had a good chat about that on Saturday as well.
He's already started at December 17th. We're 4 months away. He's already blown the gasket. He needs a new coolant.
We've just got to try and get through a season without a letter from the club going to Mars. We've just got to try our best.
Mate, I tell you what, that some of the stuff that happened during the year, like, you just look back on it and laugh. Like, I was actually speaking to a mate about this today. Like, I was in the North Terrace for the A-League, the active support, right? And I'm looking at the stuff that goes on in there.
Yeah.
I look at the stuff you get told off for at the footy. I'm like, mate, there'd be no one in the A-League game. There'd be no one there.
No, the behavioural awareness officers will, mate.
They're out to hunt you down.
No, it's crazy.
No,
it's
mate,
crazy.
our own supporters are out to hunt us down sometimes.
I know. We that's the other thing as well. How long is it going to take before we turn on each other? That's the scary part.
Wow.
But
Yeah. Well, I hope not. Well, if you're turning on each other in debate, and it's a critique and it's backed up with evidence, and that's the way you're going to talk about it, and you're talking about the football, great. As we say, go the argument, not the person.
yes, play the ball, not the man.
Always.
All right, Paul, good to have you on as always, mate. It's always a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure.
Bid you farewell, and then I'll play this clip, and that'll do us for tonight. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
No worries. Thank you very much. And again, to Chris as well. Show dedicated to him. Shout out to, obviously blessings and love to all his family and friends. And we'll chat very soon, Terry. All the best, mate.
Thanks, mate.
It's so cool. That is it's like when you laugh at it like 3 months later, 4 months later.
We did have a good job, mate.
We did have a good chat with Sayers on the Broad channel.
It was a good chat.
Highlight of the year, one of the highlights of the year.
Yeah, no, for Luke it was.
Look at winners, mate. Winners.
You know why I'm laughing?
Why?
Because you look like one of those like sheiks, those Arabs.
I've got actually a chic outfit.
I'm telling you. The other thing I remember, he said to me, he goes, keep it to about 20 minutes. Because people will get bored and I'm going, yeah, no worries. Thanks, guys. Love you both. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Buon anno. Buon Natale.
Buon Natale. And as always, go Blues!